The Walking Dead, a gripping tale of survival and humanity. In the haunting world of The Walking Dead, the story begins with Sheriff's Deputy Rick Grimes, a man whose life takes a catastrophic turn when he is shot in the line of duty. Awakening from a coma, Rick finds himself in a desolate world overrun by zombies, known as walkers. This shocking revelation marks the start of a gripping journey filled with survival, loss, and the relentless pursuit of hope. Imagine waking up in a hospital, disoriented and alone, only to discover that the world you knew has crumbled into chaos. This is the harrowing reality for Rick Grimes. As he stumbles through the remnants of civilization, he encounters Morgan Jones and his son Dwayne, two survivors who provide Rick with crucial information about the New World Order. Morgan's words resonate deeply. "One thing I do know, don't you get bit? Bites kill, then you become one of them." This stark warning highlights the brutal nature of their existence, where a single mistake can lead to a fate worse than death. Morgan's own tragedy is palpable. His wife, Jenny, was bitten and transformed into a walker, a haunting specter that now torments him and Dwayne. The emotional weight of their story serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of life and the horrors that lurk just beyond the door. Rick, determined to find his wife Lori and son Carl, takes Morgan and Dwayne to the King County Sheriff's Department, where they stock up on guns and ammunition. He gives Morgan a walkie-talkie, instructing him to check in daily at dawn, a symbol of hope amidst the chaos. As Rick embarks on his journey to Atlanta, he runs out of gas near a farmhouse and finds a horse to ride the rest of the way. Meanwhile, Lori and Carl are living in a camp outside Atlanta with Shane Walsh, Rick's high school friend and partner. Believing Rick to be dead, Lori has begun a romantic relationship with Shane, who has assumed a fatherly role in Rick's absence. This love triangle adds a layer of tension, as Rick grapples with feelings of betrayal and the need to reclaim his family. Arriving in a deserted Atlanta, Rick is quickly overwhelmed by hordes of walkers. The city, once bustling with life, has become a graveyard of the living dead. In a moment of desperation, Rick takes refuge in a tank, where he is guided by Glenn, a resourceful young man who communicates with him via radio. Glenn's bravery leads Rick to a department store, where they encounter a diverse group of survivors, including Andrea, Morales, Jackie, T-Dog, and the volatile Merle Dixon. After a violent altercation, Rick handcuffs Merle to the rooftop, a decision that will have significant repercussions later. To escape the undead, Rick and Glenn concoct a daring plan. They smear themselves with walker guts to camouflage their scent. This gruesome tactic highlights the lengths to which they must go to survive in a world where humanity is often overshadowed by horror. As they navigate through the chaos, Rick's leadership begins to emerge, establishing him as a figure of hope and strength for the group. However, the price of survival is steep, and the group faces internal conflicts that threaten to unravel their unity. Back on the rooftop, T-Dog accidentally drops the handcuff key down a ventilation pipe, leaving the stranded and furious Merle relatively safe from hungry walkers. Driving back to camp, Morales warns Rick about Merle's brother, Daryl, who will be angry that his brother was abandoned. Glenn arrives at camp first, and Shane and Dale chastise him about drawing walkers with the car alarm. Jim disconnects the alarm just as the cube van approaches. Andrea tearfully reunites with Amy, her younger sister, as does Morales with his family. Rick then emerges from the van and is shocked to discover Lori and Carl living at the camp. Later that night, Lori tells Rick she was told he would be medevaced to Atlanta. But it never happened. The Atlanta crew follows Merle's trail of blood down to the streets. They decide to retrieve Rick's guns before continuing the search. Glenn goes for the guns while the others stand guard. Their plan is derailed when Daryl is jumped by two men. Glenn is then taken hostage and brought to an inner-city fortress. Although his captors at first seem hostile, it turns out that they are simply locals trying to protect elderly survivors in a nursing home. Glenn is set free, and Rick passes on some guns to the nursing home staff. Rick, Glenn, T-Dog, and Daryl then discover their vehicle is missing. Merle, Rick says. He's going to be taking some vengeance back to camp, Daryl predicts. Back at camp, Andrea and Amy present fellow survivors with fish caught in a nearby lake. Dale interrupts the excitement to express concern over Jim, who is feverishly digging holes without explanation. Shane subdues Jim, who cannot remember exactly why he was digging. "I had a reason, don't remember," he says. Something I dreamt last night. Andrea, meanwhile, roots through Dale's RV. She's looking for something to wrap up Amy's birthday present, a mermaid necklace she took from the department store. Later, the group feasts on fish around the campfire, and the mood takes on a lighter note. When Amy steps away to go to the bathroom in the RV, she is bitten on the arm by an unseen roamer, one of many about to attack the camp. Rick and his cohorts arrive and drive the walkers back. They are too late, though, to save Amy or Eddie. Jim has also been bitten during the attack. The survivors burn the walkers, though Glenn insists they should bury their dead. Andrea cradles Amy nearby, unwilling to let anyone near the body. Dale commiserates, explaining that since his wife's death, you girls were the first people that I cared anything for. Andrea tells Dale she feels guilty for missing so many of Amy's birthdays. I'm sorry for not ever being there. Andrea weeps, kneeling next to a now reanimated Amy. She tells Amy that she's here now and loves her. Then she puts her down with a shot to the head. When Jim's injury is revealed, and the sickness associated with infection worsens, Rick suggests the group go to the CDC for help. Shane thinks the army base in Fort Benning is safer, but it is 125 miles away. While sweeping the forest for any remaining roamers, Shane tries to convince Rick to change his mind. I've got to do what's best for my family, Rick says. If it was your family, you'd feel differently. Enraged, Shane aims his gun at an unknowing Rick but doesn't pull the trigger. Rick didn't see Shane's actions after their argument. But Dale had been watching the entire spectacle. Jesus, he mutters. Later, Shane announces his support of Rick's plan. Morales says that his family will not be joining the group, and they head off in a different direction. En route to the CDC, the RV breaks down. Jim, in agony, asks Rick to leave him behind. I want to be with my family, he says of his late wife and children. The group reluctantly leaves him beneath a tree, a heart-wrenching decision that underscores the brutal choices they must make for survival. Upon reaching the CDC, the survivors are met with a mix of hope and despair. Dr. Edwin Jenner, the last scientist in the facility, performs experiments on a tissue sample designated TS-19. As the group enters the building, they are treated to food, wine, and hot showers, a stark contrast to their grim reality outside. However, the comfort is short-lived as Jenner reveals the truth about the infection. There is no cure, and the CDC's generators are running out of fuel, threatening to self-destruct. As the self-destruct sequence begins, the emotional stakes rise. Characters are faced with life-altering decisions, and the bonds formed in the crucible of survival are put to the ultimate test. In a poignant moment, Jackie chooses to stay behind with Jenner, a testament to the deep connections formed even in the face of impending doom. The explosion that follows symbolizes the destruction of their last refuge, leaving Rick and the remaining survivors to forge a new path in an uncertain world. The Walking Dead is not just a tale of survival, it is a profound exploration of the human condition in the face of unimaginable horror. Through Rick Grimes' journey, we witness the resilience of the human spirit, the complexities of relationships, and the moral dilemmas that arise in a world stripped of civilization. Each character's story adds depth to the narrative, illustrating that even in the darkest of times, hope can emerge from despair. The series delves into the psychological toll of surviving in a post-apocalyptic world. Characters are often faced with impossible choices that test their morals and ethics. For instance, Rick's struggle to maintain his humanity while making decisions that affect the lives of others highlights the delicate balance between survival and morality. The relationships between characters also evolve significantly, showcasing the bonds that form in the face of adversity, as well as the tensions that arise from fear and desperation. As viewers, we are drawn into a world where every decision has consequences, and the fight for survival is intertwined with the quest for humanity. The series challenges us to reflect on our own values and the lengths we would go to protect those we love. In the end, The Walking Dead serves as a haunting reminder that life, even amidst chaos, is worth fighting for. The journey of Rick Grimes and the survivors is not just about battling walkers, it is about the enduring strength of the human spirit and the unbreakable bonds of family and friendship in the face of insurmountable odds.